It is 6:36 p.m. Welcome to the October 22nd, 2025 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. This is a hybrid meeting with commissioners, city staff, and members of the public participating at the Aralaga Family Recreation Center in accordance with public health guidelines for in-person meetings and members of the public participating remotely. I would first like to introduce the commissioners and staff present. We have Commissioner Young Dan Chun Yu, Commissioner Kevin Dawkins, myself, Chair Wanman Lee, Commissioner Shilpa Patel, and Commissioner Justin Van Buren. Staff present includes Library and Community Services Assistant Director Nick Begda, Management Analyst Ashley Dixon. Ashley will be helping facilitate the meeting. Ashley, will you please take a moment and provide instructions to the commission and members of the public on how the meeting will proceed?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. For members of the public who are attending this meeting virtually and wish to provide public comment, after the chair calls for public comment on the item you wish to speak on, please engage the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. For those who are calling in from a landline or cell phone, please press *9 to raise your virtual hand. For members of the public attending in person, there are speaker cards available on the table. Please complete one and turn it in to staff before public comment is called on the item you wish to speak on. If there are a large number of public commenters, the time limit may be adjusted by the chair in order to allow everyone a chance to comment. When your turn for public comment has arrived, staff will unmute you. With that, I'll return the meeting to the chair.
Under public comment, the public may address the commission on any subject not listed on the agenda. Each speaker may address the commission once under public comment for a limit of 3 minutes. Please clearly state your name and address or political jurisdiction in which you live. The commission cannot act on items not listed on the agenda. Therefore, the commission cannot respond to non-agenda issues brought up under public comment other than to provide general information. Ashley, do we have any public comments?
Are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? We have one from Eric Wilmert. Did I pronounce that right? Eric, you may address the commission.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Wilmert. I'm a resident of Foster City. I've been working at Menlo Atherton High School since I was 25. And so this is my 31st year as a PE teacher and the head of cross country coach there. We run through your community or our community or this community daily. It has been one of the highlights of my life to do this and work with these kids. We have 89 kids on our team this year. And we regularly run at Bedwell Park. It has been a beautiful park for us. And we run races there. The running community enjoys that park completely. I'm coming directly from a PAL cross-country race that we held there. There were 700 kids that ran in the race there. We had a ton of family support and spectators. And I just want to let you guys know how great this park has been for us. And I like the way that you guys handle it. Doug Monteroso, in charge of the grounds, has been really great fixing the any sort of potholes in the trails and making it very accessible for us. And we're more than pleased with how Menlo Park has worked to make that great for us. I know you guys are making some improvements to the park with what I've heard. I just love it if you guys could keep in mind the running community and how much they enjoy it. Not just the little kids, but there's not just our high school, but there's younger groups and older groups, and there's different groups that put on races there. On a regular basis, we've got a legitimate measured USATF 5,000 meter course that is starting to get a lot of traction from other groups. We would love to set up an official start line, some posts in the ground, things like that. The big issues that we have, parking can be difficult for spectators, which is a big deal. Bathroom access, we have to bring in porta potties to handle the crowd. And if bathrooms could be brought into the middle of the park, which would be a lot easier, and water, that would be a dream. But also bus parking which they used to have, hopefully I'm not going over my limit, just tell me to stop if you want me to. But there's a long straight pathway that goes back to some sort of construction that's going on over there. We were able to park buses there. 17 buses was very easy to do, but they closed that off because of the construction. And so we had to find different places for people to park, and if there was a way of, coming up with a relationship with the people that, run the parking garage across the street, which seems to be super convenient on that corner, would be a really great relationship for, groups that want to hold larger events and stuff like that at the park, would be great. Other than that, thanks for caring about parks and. All now, you have any questions, we'd love to answer them, but other than that, I think, that's it.
Great, thank you. Gonna share my card with you.
Sure.
You have a contact and I can connect with both a couple of these things offline.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, we would, just briefly, I don't know if you're aware, but this commission is planning a 6K run, which is not a cross country, but a hybrid run from the new community center. It'll go through Bellhaven. Be great to kind of get your contact information to kind of enlist some of your runners. Maybe we'll work out something there with registration. But yeah, so maybe we'll connect with Nick and then try to facilitate that communication.
Okay, terrific, guys.
And specifically, I don't know if you know, we had the Friends of Bedwell here last month. So I think parking was definitely a priority, but what you're talking about in terms of a running path, I'm not exactly sure where that is.
I will
So
share a map with you guys.
yeah, that would be super helpful so that,
I will share it with
Nick.
Nick. And you'll see the path that we have and you'll kind of be surprised how much we've done there. It's been really great.
Awesome.
Great.
All right,
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
have a great afternoon, guys.
Thank you. You as well.
Ashley, are there any other public comments?
No public comment.
Okay. Moving on, first item is D1, the draft user aquatic survey 2025. Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item D1, the draft user aquatic survey for 2025? No public comment.
I've got a quick introduction for you guys. So, the city from time to time does, surveys of our users. We did an aquatic user survey, last year, which was pretty successful. 700 or so respondents, which is pretty good. We're thinking of doing another one this year. It's useful when you do surveys to have the same questions year over year so that you can compare and sort of track information year over year. However, we have been meeting with a task force at Bellhaven Pool, talking about Bellhaven Pool programming and use. And so have a couple of questions that we would like to add to this year's survey. And see if you guys, looking at the sample survey questions, have anything else or any comments that you would like to add to this. And the survey actually has it up on screens in your packet. It is relatively short, and I think that's a good thing. This is, just to make a distinction, this is separate from the survey of users that Menlo Swim and Sport does with their annual report. So if you look at the minutes from last month's meeting, there was a huge annual report day, which usually comes in January, February of the year, where Menlo Swim and Sport does a survey of their users, which is different than the city sponsored surveys. And with that, I'm done talking for now, but happy to answer any questions and as you discuss this proposed survey.
So what is the intent of these new questions? They seem obvious, but like, let's say there's a Monday is the dominant day for visiting Bellhaven Pool. What are the plans for using that information?
Well, we were charged by the city council recently when discussing aquatics and restoring hours to the pools. To have this Bellhaven specific task force and to start preparing for running the program. So we haven't been given the direction and we are running the program, the city, running the programming and for the Menlo Swimming Sport to do the lifeguards and like the pool chemical operation stuff. The hybrid model is the working name for that arrangement. This arrangement has not come to pass yet, may not come to pass, it depends on the next council's direction. But the council had appropriated funds for restoring services and hours at the Bellhaven pool and at the Burgess pool. In their discussions, their contract discussions. So that's a long way of saying, we're gathering that information in preparation for the city having to run the Bellhaven pool program. So if we're going to run the programming, we should probably figure out what hours are best for people to do things, and we had heard from the task force that they wanted different hours, like the hours that they were hearing from community members were more later in the day, like after work hours. Whereas here at Burgess Pool, I think there was a lot of early hours wanted for people who were swimming before work. And I think there was a desire to see some hours and having some programming later in the day, like 8 or 9 o'clock at night after work. So that's the sort of thing we use this information for.
Would it make sense then to target some of this and just directly at Bellhaven, if that's where we're gonna do the programming, because. If someone like, I live walking distance from Burgess, but not Bellhaven, so I would put 0 for days that we could when you go to Bellhaven, but I don't know if that data is useful to you.
Right, well, hopefully what we could do is cross tab it with where you live, because there's that question about where you live early in the survey.
Mhm.
I did notice as I was rereading this before. That we have, some demographic information, and then they say how often you typically use the Burgess pool and. And various programs, whether they're important or not important. How satisfied are you with services and programs at the Burgess pool, and then sort of a free text form. But we did not add those specifically for the Bellhaven pool, I think because when this survey went out last year. The Bellhaven pool had not been open for that long, and so we were like, well. How are we doing sort of questions aren't really ready. We weren't really ready for how are we doing questions. I think it would make sense to add those, like the same battery of questions. For Bellhaven pool users. As well as the other questions that we suggested adding, which were about times of day. That were convenient.
Wonder if you should also add a question on which of the 2 pools is the convenient pool for that person, that might also help you fit in the data a little bit. Bucket it.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt people are visiting both pools
Right.
regularly.
Like sort of which pool is convenient, if it's Burgess, then answer these questions, if it's Bellhaven, then answer these questions. And then in the sort of nest it that way, and then have the suggested task force questions.
Show up for the
Burgess or Bellhaven, well, we have both, like, which are, I think that. Sort of the proposed new questions we're trying to get to the heart of,
Mhm.
do we have the hours right at each pool, and should they be different for different groups of users?
And this is sorry. This is somewhat tangential, but like, let's say Burgess is open. I don't know, 6 AM to 5 PM, this is just hypothetical. Having Bellhaven be like the nighttime option, I assume it is with lights, does it have lights?
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't that kinda. Provide an option for even like West Menlo residents to kind of just drive up and get a late night swim, would be awesome, I think, so. Maybe we're. Not optimizing by having the hours be exactly the same, but I think this survey will bear this out right there.
I think that's something that we're trying to get at, is that the right, is that what people want? Do they want the same hours at both pools, or are there different distinct enough user populations that they want distinctly different things?
Would you get a crossover with someone go to the other one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that there's, just anecdotally, I can think that there's a lot of crossover now. But I think there could be, I know when Menlo's Women's Sport was cutting back their hours and closed the pool during the middle of the day when the masters program of normal swam here. The masters folks were going to Belhaven and swimming at the Belhaven. That's the only kind of regular instance of that crossover that there's. But you don't know now, having been introduced to that Belhaven pool, if that people will continue there. And so this hopefully will tell us by, if people are honest about where they live, when they put it down, and then which pool they're using.
Then maybe don't ask the questions, maybe just add a question like what's your home pool or preferred, but then still ask them about both. Right?
That way you could see if someone was interested in sort of splitting by hours.
And like they consider they usually go to Burgess, but Wednesday evenings. You know, they're coming back from work kind of. Something like that.
I'm wondering if it's necessary to add a question to ask them, have you heard of opening up Beckham pool? It's like, what's the target survey, like here is general residents, or is it more about
I think it's pool users,
Oh.
current pool users.
okay,
Is what we're thinking of. I think last time we did send it out or put notices about it in our LCS newsletter, which has a pretty broad reach. But like paper surveys and signs and things on site to get the users of it. So people could find out about the Belhaven pool if they haven't heard about it before. But we do advertise programs at both pools in that LCS newsletter, and that's got a pretty broad reach. Soon as the running enthusiasts go by, I think it's like. How, Ashley, do you happen to remember offhand how big that LCS newsletter list is?
It's like 32,000 people.
So it's a pretty good reach. Obviously, there's already 5,000 people in the city, so there are some non-residents probably, but it's a good reach. And a good open rate too, so that's a good way of getting a survey out.
Do you have any other comments on the survey?
I like that it's short.
I think data surveys, I like them.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we can move to regular business. The first item we have is item E1, approval of the minutes from the September 24th, 2025 meeting. Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item E1, minutes from the September 24th, 2025 meeting?
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed. Would any commissioner like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I will motion to approve the minutes from the September 24th, 2025 meeting. You're welcome.
Second.
There's a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the September 24th, 2025 meeting. Commissioner Chandu, how do you vote?
approve,
Commissioner Dawkins,
Approved.
Chair Lee,
Approved.
Commissioner Patel,
approved,
and Commissioner Van Buren.
Approved.
The motion passes unanimously.
Next item is item E2, a recommended updates to the recreation facility use guidelines. Do we want to do presentation for this?
Sure, I will do a very brief presentation. From time to time, we find it necessary to change modify our facility use guidelines and other policies. To keep as current as possible with the use of facilities and what's going on in them. This facility use policy is basically like behavior policy for all of our recreation facilities. And you can see we've just cleaned up something sort of administratively at the top, right to that. We basically added one line to it. And it has to do with having no tolerance for bullying in our facilities. And as Sean was asked to say, there's a story behind every revision.
That's what the word.
But we don't have to necessarily go into the specifics of it. We do have a citywide anti-bullying policy. And so that's just sort of reflecting that in our facility policies. Let's see, review it once every 2 years, which seems like a great idea. So that's my presentation.
Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item E2? No public comment.
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed and the item is open for commission discussion.
Sorry, I was instant off of this change.
I'm sorry that we have to have a lot of these rules, yes, but it's great to have the facility policies in place so that we keep our facilities safe and usable by everybody. And so that staff can address behaviors confidently.
I think it is fitting that today on Community Day during Bullying Prevention Month. This is the change that we're approving. And I agree. There's no place for bullying.
Do you just want to combine it with the above?
I think it is, I think the bottom is redlined,
Oh, sorry.
same as that.
For-
That's not right, I read the one above is just not redlined.
Oh, no, there's the clean version has harassing facility users. And then the new line is bullying, intimidation, or retaliation.
That's why it had the other change about removing the phone number on the clean version. Huh.
We intend to just add the one line about bullying to the policy. Any other changes would be sort of as to form,
Okay, yeah, it's not a big deal.
but if you see something where you should change, let's we are not perfect. Policy. One can miss them.
Would any commissioner like to make a motion to recommend the updates?
Sure. I motion.
Any second?
Second.
There's a motion to recommend the updates to the recreation facility use guidelines. Commissioner Sean, how do you go?
Approved.
Commissioner Dawkins,
Approved.
Chair Lee,
Approved.
Commissioner Patel,
Approved.
and Commissioner Van Buren. Motion passes unanimously. Sherman and Rasmus.
Next item is item F1, Library and Community Services Department of Statistics and Activities. Staff will provide a brief presentation on this item.
So we have crafted a brief slideshow to run through the department updates. Oh, great, already. Still, it's special, not during the slideshow. I just thought this might be an interesting way of trying to kind of crunch down some of the information. It's a pretty hefty report with a lot of statistics. And please do feel free to ask questions about it. If I can't answer questions on the specifics, I can definitely get back to you. So a quick update from the community fund run. As you know, there's a subcommittee that has been working with LCS staff on only the community fund run. The route is getting finalized. It's as far as we are concerned, we LCS and the subcommittee considered final. We just have to make sure that we get final police department, public works department sign off on it. Sponsorship are starting to move to the fore. The sponsorship policy was shared with the subcommittee. And we are hoping to get something that's a little more branded and put together to take out to sponsors to talk about the fund run. We have started meeting with our public engagement officer and are going to pull the city's marketing team into working on some marketing materials soon. Because April, even late April 25th being the tentative date, gets almost faster than we think. The Youth Advisory Committee had their first meeting. They are making a presentation and providing feedback to the Complete Streets Commission on some bike parking questions that the Complete Streets Commission had for them. And there's a new club for youth at the Bellhaven Community Campus called Club 6, 7, and 8. 6, 7, and 8 by 7. So Club 6, 7, 8, and it's for 6, 7, and 8th graders, mostly at Beechwood School, which is right across the parking lot. Those guys are in the facility every day, and we're just trying to find ways to get them engaged and involved. National Bullying Prevention Month. It's been built into our childcare team lesson plans. The childcare teams made a nice presentation and received a proclamation last night from the city council. We have kindness action cards and these anti-bullying wristbands at all of our public desks, which is great. Today is the community day, and if you want to have a hashtag about kindness or an active anti-bullying, you can put that hashtag to it on their social media. We had a really successful Halloween costume drive, donation drive for Bellhaven School students. This has 160 donations. There was actually 200 donations. We had a lot of really nice costumes that got donated, both here at the recreation center and at both of our police facilities. So staff gathered those up and we dropped them off at Bellhaven School earlier this week. Halloween it's almost here. So this is the annual week of activities that we have as a department across the city. The Halloween parade and carnival is this Saturday. It's supposed to rain, but it's not supposed to rain a lot. Done a lot of planning about what to do if it rains. Right now, it's not looking like it's gonna rain a lot. So we might get a little damp, but the parade will go on, barring anything that is unsafe, of course. There's that people parade down Santa Cruz Avenue starting at 11 on Saturday morning, and a carnival at Fremont Park with magic shows and musical performances and carnival games. Pumpkin Splash is also this weekend on Sunday at both of our pools. That's where kids have a floating pumpkin patch to choose from, and then they jump in the water and pick a pumpkin, and then they jump out and they decorate pumpkins. Pretty cool. And I was like, what is that? Is anybody gonna do that? And it sells out every year, and it's sold out every year. It's like 200 people have signed up for it. So don't ask me what's cool for people, children, because I don't know. We also got a trunk or treat event going on at the campus on Tuesday next. And that's where different organizations and departments sort of decorate cars and trunks, and then kids safely can go around and trick or treat amongst the parked cars in the parking lot. And the kids and the staff really enjoy that. A couple of more things that might be of interest to you guys. For the Bedwell Bayfront Park Ranger Services, San Jose Conservation Corps is tentatively starting the week before Thanksgiving. We're working through the agreements with them, it's just paperwork at this point. So we're excited about them starting. They've been very eager to get started and start making those connections with park users, but also with the Friends of Bedwell Patron Park and some other user groups. We popped up a couple of spot surveys for tennis and pickleball at Milan and Kelly Park courts. We'll bring the results of those surveys to you next month. The idea there is before we were going to restripe some of the pickleball courts, we wanted to just do another gut check on whether people were actually using them for anything other than pickleball. And my guess is probably not, because I haven't heard of anybody booking so they're striped for tennis and pickleball now. And we're thinking of perhaps striping just for pickleball, the ones that we have had in sort of a dual use pattern for the last 3-4 years. The citywide cost of services study, it sounds super boring, but what it is, it's a comprehensive fee and service charge study to see what we're charging now, whether what we charge now is allowable, because we're not allowed to charge for more than the cost of certain services. I'm thinking for things like plan checking and things like that, not necessarily for LCS. We are not a money maker in LCS, but it is good to look at how much it costs to provide certain services, so that everybody has a good idea about what those costs are. That helps with the plan. I think that is it. Happy to answer any questions that you think about.
Sure. Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item F1? No public comment.
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed and it is open for commission discussion.
I just go for it. I really like you to still put down, and one thing that would be interesting is if you also had a slide on any of these like large amounts of tables with like data. Like an interesting trend, positive or negative, you just like look at. So I went through this last night, and like there were things that appeared as trends to me, but like maybe it's not. But I think it would just be interesting if you just, there were just like 2 or 3, like, oh, this is interesting, it jumped up or it jumped down.
Yep, that's a good point.
But I don't need it.
Anyone else wowed by my slide deck? No, okay.
I thought.
I'm totally pushing for compliments.
You did,
Any compliments should go to Ashley and her slide deck, promise.
Any other comments? Okay. So I just have a clarifying comment about the pickleball. You said if the costs are reasonable, when can the community expect striping to occur? Roughly?
Maybe as soon as a couple of weeks from now, so it might actually go before the meeting. I think we just wanna make sure, we're kind of reconfirming what we see,
Yeah,
but just to one more check, just to see. I think the survey's been up for, just a couple days right now, we've got one. And we were having it on site only deliberately, so we're not sort of broadcasting it out in the LCS newsletter. We really want to find. We want information from people who go there to play.
Okay.
Are people still using what we have designated as pickleball courts for anything other than pickleball?
okay. And just for those people, I mean, pickleball obviously is a very controversial topic. People are very concerned with what's happening. The courts that you're referring to are.
Currently used, it's Milan number 5 and Kelly number 1. It's the ones that we're currently using for dual use tennis pickleball.
So Kelly 1 and Nealon 5 potentially will be striped pickleball if everything works out in a couple weeks.
That's the hope. Yeah,
Great, great.
And that's not necessarily changing the policy to make them permanent, it's just kind of recognizing that the usage of them, if people aren't. Using them for anything else and are only using them for pickleball, doesn't really make sense to have them struck.
Sounds good. Any other comments? Next item then is item F2, receiving the Parks and Recreation Commission Work Plan 2025-26 as revised and approved by the City Council on September 30th.
Super quick, comment on this. So every year, all the advisory bodies, build work plans and then send them up to the city council for review and approval. City council approved the Parks and Recreation Commission work plan with one, change. They struck out the line about reviewing the department budget. During the discussion for that, I don't know if you can go back and watch that on YouTube, but there were some concerns, sort of duplicating efforts and, purview of commissions that weren't the city council. They said that there were other ways to sort of get that information, so they didn't think it should be, word plan of the commissions. It was in the word plan for both the library commission and the Parks and Rec commission. Say last year, and they struck it this year. It's not completely unusual for the city council to modify or strike things from commission work plans. It does happen. I can think of another instance in the last 2 years where they struck something from the library commission work plan on reviewing childcare. For a reason they didn't want the library to look at the childcare. They thought more appropriate to be at the council level. It turned out they did a whole study session on it, so, that's my understanding, that's my presentation.
Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item 2? No public comment.
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed and we will open the item for commission discussion.
I mean, it's approved, right, so.
In this version, it is.
So the discussion will be like, if we wanted to like push back and change something.
Number 6. Any comment on the commission? Item F2?
No comment.
I mean, that number 9. Commission posted are needed on.
Not yet, but it is on, I think when we get to the calendar, it should be there. Any other comments? Next item is item F3, the summary report on projects completed in furtherance of the goals in the Parks and Recreation Facilities Master Plan.
So another quick introduction on this, just thought it was time to check in on some of those goals because we had been talking to our previous mission about things in the Parks and Rec Facility Master Plan, kind of closing the loop on a couple of them, including the Belhaven campus, which was ranked very high in that Parks and Rec Facility Master Plan. The Burgess Park playground, Willow Oaks playground, and dog park upgrades were also in the Parks and Rec Facility Master Plan. A side note, one of our public works director had like what do I call it? It's like a poster board today about how things went from ideas to ending up on the capital improvement project. And I asked her to leave it for this meeting tonight because it was very clear to me how it goes. And I might ask her or a representative to come back and talk to us about that, talk to the commission about that. Especially because so many questions that we get are about new facilities or upgrades to facilities or changes to fields and facilities and how that all gets funded and prioritized and carried out. So there is a process for it. briefly, it goes to, sort of checked against the city council's priorities for the year, as well as checked for, is it nearing end of life status, like, is it falling down, or about to fall down, or about to be dangerous? Those two things, aligning with city council priorities and end of life, move it up on public works priority list. Then they, as a team, get together and look at how much money does it cost, do they have staff to do it? And scheduling with all the other things that they're doing, and they develop their CIP list that they present to the city council and gets approved. So that was the bureaucratic way that the engineers move it through. So a lot of these things are priorities for our parks and rec facility users, and it's not that they're not important to them or to the city council, it's just that there are all these other things that are swirling around at the same time. So that's my explanation about why it takes so long to get things done, and you think it shouldn't take very long to get things done. But I think we should have, I think Kayla from Public Works is coming back to do, a talk to us about Bedwell Bayfront Park in the next month or so. I think she's coming in November. And I'll ask her to also maybe bring that slide or a little bit of information about. So she's able to talk with the commission about how those things get prioritized and how the Public Works Department actually moves those projects around.
Thank you.
Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item F3? No.
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed and we will open the item for commission discussion. Uh,
Is there someone?
I was looking, but I didn't see whether there were.
Yeah, I'm looking for one. There was supposed to be, or maybe. No, there was supposed to be building already on the building 3. And I don't think
I guess my question, Nick, we did this last year. Setting, these goals, I guess, right? When are we scheduled to do this again?
This was, I think the last time we really cracked this open was when we proposed the pickleball addendum. We proposed to the city council that they approve a study for finding the best location for new pickleball facilities. And the council did not take any action on. So, this is sort of, keeping it updated and kind of cleaning it up a little bit, because now it's been a year since, the BHCC has been out. And those two, projects in Burgess and Rose Park are completed. So I think that we as a commission should take a look at it every year. It makes sense to me. It's supposed to be a 10-year document. And there are still things on the priority list that have not been addressed. So it makes sense to me to kind of surface those at least once a year, so we talk about them, see if there's any public comment about them. We haven't been getting public comments recently, including tonight about Bedwell Bayfront Park, but from time to time we get them about other things. We haven't gotten, I don't even know if I would say, haven't gotten very many comments about sort of conflicts over dog use at Willow Oaks Park since the fences and the new dog park have gone in. So you can see how those things sort of, when we do address them, it works sometimes. So I think we should, as a commission, look at it at least annually. To take a look and see, well, where's this one, how's that one going? To see if the public is interested in bringing some of these up.
With the focus on restriping pickleball courts. Do you? Is there still a community need for more pickleball courts?
I think the pickleball players would say yes. I think they would say yes, but I think, you know, I think we can acknowledge that there's a nice community of pickleball players at Nealon Park now, and I think restriping there makes sense. You know, we did ask the council for this study. And that it's not, it just didn't align with their priorities at the time. There's nothing to say that we can't ask them again for it. But given my preamble there about how things have to align with their priorities and then the public works priorities and the staffing and funding. You know, things can also just take a lot of time before they get done. Side note, Tricia and I have been talking to some sort of power users in the community about starting a Friends of Parks and Rec or a Parks and Rec Foundation. I think there were some preliminary reports about that here in this commission. And I think organizations like that can be super helpful, not just in raising money, but in raising awareness in the community about issues.
Yeah, pickleball is definitely a huge contentious issue, especially for, you know, for folks who are new members. It was like, there was a packed house of people waiting to comment. And similarly, tennis players were countering their arguments because they felt that their courts were being taken over. So I think our recommendation at the time was, hey, let's do a capital project or that study at least to find out where we can build additional capacity. But as Nick said, the council didn't feel pickleball was a priority, so. My personal belief is it's still just as popular. One good thing is that Kelly Park usage, I believe, has gone up tremendously. I see players there all the time. But I definitely do think there's a need for greater capacity, but there are issues associated with that, noise especially. But I mean, for me, I'm so curious about like opening new public lands that might be becoming available, especially developments, especially near Snowflake or in Bellhaven, where the apartments are. So I always want to kind of forward our recommendations to city council. I would like to actually forward recommendations to city council every meeting, but maybe that's not the most feasible thing. But yeah, I think we should advocate for pickleball users, given how much they come to this meeting and express their opinions about, hey, we want to take advantage of the recreation facilities offered by Menlo Park. Just they're not adequate enough at this time. So.
If you'd like, we can, when we look at the tentative agenda calendar next, like put an item on the November agenda that says discuss possible recommendations to the city council on Parks and Rec facility master plan items or something like that. And that way we could have a full discussion, make a recommendation as a commission on it. I gave this that's not really advice, but gave some comments to the library commission in the last year or so about working with their liaison. So there is a city council liaison to each commission. I think ours is Mayor Combs now. So he's a very busy man, but he does hold open office hours that anyone can attend. That's not as official recommendation of the commission, but it could be that individual commissioners could chat with him about things. And inviting him to one of the meetings where you could discuss the things that have come up recently or over the past year, even would be, I think, of interest to him. Especially if you're offering it up as, here's the feedback we've been hearing from community and the commission over the past year, and you can just tick some things off for you. It seems like a really nice way of bringing awareness to the city council about the issues that you guys are seeing.
Does anyone have any further comments about this? I think this conversation will continue with the agenda discussion.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at the master plan, like a park and rec facilities master plan. I saw the report like it summarized over the last year, there were three major projects, the Bay Haven Community Center and the Willows Playground and with the other Burgers Playground. I'm curious for this year, what are like the top major projects?
For LCS, I don't think there are on the capital improvement project that I can think of. The big ones that I think that I have seen moving forward this year have more to do with safe routes to school and complete streets, so sort of traffic. And traffic calming measures. I've seen a lot of projects about sea level rise and reacting to sea level rise and climate change in different ways, including incentivizing home electrification and also in sort of boring infrastructure projects that are like, there's a major pump station out in the Bellingham neighborhood, the Chrysler pump station that just finished a major remodel, rehaul to several $1 million. And there's the work that's being done at the entrance to Bedwell Bayfront Park, which has to do with enlarging the Atherton Channel, which is drains from sort of the north Bedwell Park and Atherton down to the bay. So there's a lot of work done like that. And then a lot of prep work that you don't see being done for a bicycle and pedestrian underpass here. Roughly equivalent where the basketball courts are here, or just to go under the railroad tracks over to the new development. That's on Elpino, so that was approved. Council spent a lot of time and money on developing those plans, but anytime you have one bureaucratic agency working with 2 or 3 other bureaucratic agencies to get things done, it often takes a long time to get that done. And then the council has also been focused a lot on some pretty major development projects, including Spring Line, which just got approved. Just a couple of weeks ago.
The
That-
procedure is a procedure.
This is, yeah, right across from where we are now in the former SRI campus. It's slated for a lot of development.
Now that the area next to the Monroe Acetone plant.
Yeah, I mean, the property extends from here, from Laurel Street, all the way to Middlefield Avenue,
Oh, I see.
Middlefield Road. Yeah. And that has been at various times a proposed park. So this commission will probably hear more about that as we get closer to construction.
So will your construction start?
That's a very good question. I'm very glad you asked me, let's say when we don't know. Don't know. Won't be started. I can tell you that the planning process has been years long. So, and there are a lot of factors that go into it. We're getting pretty far from the council, bring this back soon, I swear. But, for instance, the Willow Village development that has been proposed and approved. It hadn't, no construction has started on that, and it may not for a while because of changing things with the meta. So.
Any other comments?
No.
The last item is item F4, the tentative agenda calendar. Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item F or the tentative agenda calendar? No public comment.
I think. I just wanted to try and slot a lot of these unscheduled future topics and so on, given that we're getting close to the end of the year. The next one, so the November meeting has been moved up, right, 19th. I don't know if folks will even have a quorum, just given folks' vacation. To just informally, is anyone expecting not to be here for November 19th?
So we moved it up a week so that it wasn't the day before Thanksgiving, yeah.
Okay, that looks promising then. And then December 15th. Anyone expect to not be there?
And the call out there is that is not your normal meeting night, that is the normal meeting night of the library commission. When we do joint meetings, we swap back and forth between the normal meeting nights of each commission. And that was to be held at the community campus.
Yeah. So that is probably not, it's not a commission meeting where we would stuff a lot of Parks and Rec topics in there, so. For January and February. Can we at least try and slot in inviting council liaison, because I think Commissioner Dawkins is very much, I think we're all very interested in starting that and building that relationship.
Maybe we should try to in February and come up with like things to take off for that meeting. Maybe, right?
Oh, what that?
Maybe we try to schedule him in for February, so that Jan can talk about like he sort of suggested things like kind of take off.
Yeah,
To make that meaningful.
and making sure, give them enough time to clear the calendar, so.
Right, and we can make the holiday for the meeting, yeah.
And we should make sure to invite him to the joint meeting with library commission. Out of the kindness of our hearts. Well, that's
fair.
That's, I mean, if he just wants to stop by for a brief top level, a little light conversation afterwards, I think that's a reasonable one to invite him to. And that way we can. Yeah.
That was good sharp humor.
We'll-
We've all been fed every last time, that might have really good sharp.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like that.
Really?
Yeah.
And a cake?
Yeah, the
There was
person,
a cake last time.
yeah, she made her own thing, that was really cool.
So
So can we add
I do like that.
for February, invite community council liaison rather?
Yep.
For January, can we slot in the top three there? Kelly Park, Flood Park. Or at least those two, because those are more just information sharing, I believe.
I'm sure
Community gardens, that was a new thing that,
that I brought up.
yeah, okay, so maybe you want to elaborate.
So I just brought it up that there was a community garden on city land in the Bellhaven neighborhood, operated by the Rotary Club, I believe.
Yes.
And I spoke to a resident of East Menlo Park, Bellhaven neighborhood, who said they went by, they tried to contact all the information that was on the gate, no one had ever gotten back to them. And I thought, instead of having the only community garden be all the way over there and have it technically operated by someone else, or even if other people operate, it would be cool if we had a couple spread throughout Menlo Park. I know that members of the city council have been working on building more affordable housing throughout all the different sections of Menlo Park and not just all, districts. The district over there, I think also that there are a lot of people throughout Menlo Park who might not have big yards, so it might be nice to have them in District 1, District 3, District 5. So I brought that up because I thought it would be nice to figure out what land would be available, and if that was something that would align with Public Works on their capital improvement project thing. I think that community gardens are somewhat of a park, and people being able to grow stuff is nice. I think it's a good service, and I think it's something that should be offered to people who live in Menlo Park.
I think it's, I think we can certainly do, a staff report and start a discussion about it. Yeah, I mean, just my understanding of the rules of the community garden in Bellhaven is, it's mainly for the people whose houses are got that community garden, because it's like a flag lot. That's in the middle of a bunch of houses. And so the Rotary, it was abandoned land, and the Rotary Club had sort of started and managed it. But I can check up on all of that and make sure my recollection is correct. I can think of a really well-used community garden in Edith Johnson Park, right over the creek in Palo Alto. So the park with the concrete slide, if we got Lucas kids that go over and slide in the cardboard, that park, there's a pretty nice community garden there. Not to sort of write checks that I can't cash, it's an old phrase, but I don't think the problem with community gardens is startup costs per se. I think it's the problems come in making sure you're running them and managing them in a fair way. And that they are mostly sort of run and managed by the participants in the community garden, because people are assigned certain beds and things. It is one way that I've seen it done, but yeah, happy to do a report and then discuss and investigate that a little more. I don't know if there's a process in place for designating parkland, for instance, that the city already owns as a section of it as community garden, like thinking about the implications of that. What that means for other people who want to do other things, parks, I guess is something that probably should discuss. Watching we build a pickleball where there's some need to.
Right over the
I just wanna make sure,
Who's to
like,
say?
we need to talk about it and talk through all the. But yeah, happy to have that discussion.
Just to say that Justin's pickling cucumbers are more important than my pickleball.
Do you wanna try to summarize your thoughts into a sentence there? And as an agenda item header?
Yes, I would like to do that. Thank you.
You don't have to do it right.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Community gardens, vegetation, we could do a study session on community gardens.
So,
And that way it's, that's sort of the catch-all, it allows us to range pretty far. Not that I need any help to range pretty far, but.
And you mentioned the public works, the representative was gonna come back and tell us how.
I'm hoping in our November meeting, so,
Oh,
I think that was going to be, this is where Tricia. Was working with Kayla on, so I think she was hoping to put it, again, not ready to check that, I can't cash. Hoping to put it in November. I might add that for that December meeting. The joint meeting, I have had a request from sustainability. Excuse me, to do a presentation on the solar projects on the different city facilities.
Yeah.
Well, not a long one, but I've been getting questions from other commissioners and volunteers about. What's with the solar, how much solar does power goes out, does it charge just that facility, all these kinds of things that I thought would be nice to have. A presentation on that. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
do we wanna pencil in for January, master plan review, like the goal setting kind of thing?
Yeah, before the penalty is on,
Yeah, it kind of fits me.
maybe I like that.
Anything else?
can we add a budget review for January?
What did they do?
I think we can always take budget review as as part of the department updates. For instance, January, February is where the departments go back to the city council and if they have any mid-year budget adjustments that they're asking for. That's where we do it. And there's nothing wrong with us reporting out on the budget process in April, May, when they're getting formulated and put together. Sort of like you guys know what our budget proposal is, whether we leave that in. That seems perfectly fine. It's just not more.
Will you talk more about the dog parks? It's like you briefly mentioned that there are some comments about dog parks or.
Yeah, the PRC had received some comments from parents at Willow Oaks Park. Because before the dog park was there and we modeled it before there was some fencing. Cutting off property of the international school. People would have their dogs running off leash, which they're not supposed to do. But we had a few emails and comments at the commission about sort of not nice dog people interactions at Willow Oaks Park. It hasn't come up as an issue at the other parks yet. But that's what that comment is.
Yeah, I received some parents' comments about off-leash dogs next to the Nelson Park playground. So,
Which park?
Nelson Park, Nelson playground.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a turf, like grass area next to the playground. And there are a lot of like off-leash dogs running around, and because it's the playground is a popular birthday party place, sometimes weekends, kids are overflow, so kids start to run on the like a turf area next to the playground, and the dogs are there as well. Yeah, so it sometimes looks like some dog workers complain that like kids scared their dogs.
Yes, it has been a recurring issue over the years at the Parks and Rec Commission. It's one of the things that we were hoping, I think, with our new ranger team to talk about that. Because that's one of the things that they are going to do at Bentonville Bayfront Park is to talk to people who are not following the park rules. Including having their dogs on leash. And dogs are not allowed off leash in any of the parks in the city, except in designated dog park areas. Nealon Park has an added spiciness in that the designated dog park is the outfield of the baseball softball field, which was never meant to be a permanent thing, which was meant to be a temporary thing while a new separate dog park was built on that yard next to the playground. But yes, it's something we can talk about at some point. I think we had hoped that we would get a bid for ranger services for more than just Bedwell Bayfront Park, for several other parks. I think that would probably help a lot if we had a presence at parks during the day so that we could catch some of these behaviors and in a nice way say, hey, you're not supposed to do that. The signs don't seem to be working.
Oh, are there signs there?
Oh, there are signs everywhere. If you go to Blythe Park, the field is ringed like literally every 10 feet with a sign that says, do not let your dogs off. And people have their dogs.
I remember when I first joined the PRC that I had gotten a few comments from people about, can we build more dog parks at our parks, and I brought it up. I think it was you, but a very good point, that we want our dog parks to feel like a premium experience and not an afterthought, right? Like you don't want to put up a little chain link fence and be like, there, you have a square, 3 by 3 meter square. Have fun.
Yeah.
So I understand that. And we have discussed ranges of different parks, but while we're talking about the ranges. Should we invite them to a meeting,
That's a really good idea, but yeah,
like January or February for like
Let's say
a
sort of
60 months, 60-day, 90-day like update?
I think that's an excellent idea to have that team introduce themselves and talk about the work that they've started to do. I think, well, I like that.
And maybe what challenges they're having or successes.
Yeah,
Do they work on weekends or weekdays only?
they work on weekends.
Um,
Yeah. And their schedule varies depending on the time of year, more daylight, more park users. More ranger hours, more days of the week, and then in the dark and colder, wetter months, fewer hours. So it's been a nice 4 months, all queued up.
Any other commissioner comments? Okay, moving on to item G1, individual commissioner reports. Would any commissioner like to make a short report out on items of interest to the entire commission?
I think I just gave a TED talk on community gardens.
Hearing none, the meeting is then adjourned at 7:47 PM.